Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. All right, let's get into what has been going on. All right, Lil Nas had quite a weekend on Ventura Boulevard in the Valley. And he was arrested and charged with 4 felonies. I guess he did resist arrest and possibly touched an officer. That's where those come from. And also, I think, public, nudity. This is what happened. My understanding is he was strutting up and down Ventura Boulevard in some adorable white cowboy boots and just white underwear. But the body's banging. And as someone who has lived close to Ventura Boulevard, and especially in the last 5 years, I would not have batted an eye. That's another day in the life of living in Los Angeles of someone talking to themselves, strutting. Or, that's an outfit that you'd wear to Burning Man, quite honestly, which is right around the corner and still my worst nightmare. Please don't ever invite me. And there was just a big wind sandstorm that happened, and I'll never understand the appeal. But anyway, he's walking down, and it's a hot summer night. The Valley gets hot. What's the problem here? But I guess somebody thought the underwear counted as nudity or that he didn't seem well. So they called the cops. Honestly, I don't know anyone that would have called the cops that lives in the Valley that would have seen someone like this, unless you might have known he was Lil Nas. Then by the time the cops comes, there's footage of he got rid of the underwear. And, but still, again, not something you haven't seen if you've lived in Los Angeles for the last 5 years, of someone just buck naked, going to the bathroom, whatever. And, but he wasn't doing any of that. He was just walking, just, having fun, talking about who's coming to the party or something. So after Lil Nas was arrested, they did keep him in prison or jail over the weekend. He had a hearing. He's out now. And originally they thought he was high. I don't really know what happened. Personally, when I saw the video, I didn't think he was acting that crazy. But then again, I told you what my experience has been with people on Ventura Boulevard. So I hope he's okay. It's giving a little Britney Spears. It's giving, just wanting to be dancing and free on the streets. So hopefully he's okay. There's that. Britney of the Valley is appearing to have a boyfriend that showed up at an event with her, and he too is a father of a couple kids. And in one of some post, apparently his wife commented, this is coming from the Vanderpump Rules party. They have a big Instagram account and where they cover everything Vanderpump. And the son is who reported that she was seen talking to this guy, and, he looks cute, some tattoos, age appropriate for her. And his wife, who kind of is similar in looks to Britney, commented he's still married and everything. But the story is that he and his wife have been separated for at least 7 months. We know Britney and Jax have been separated for over a year. It does take a while to get a divorce. So I don't think it's really that juicy that people can date other people while they're headed towards divorce. And also, they discovered that several of Britney's good friends who are cast members are following him. So it tells me that he is well liked. I think Sheena and Kristen Doty followed him. So, this is what will be exciting. If we're going to follow these people and what their life is in the Valley, raising young kids, co-parenting, being separated, you're going to date other people. So we'll see if he makes an appearance on the show. Some sad news, but not unexpected, in the case that I covered last week about this couple who claimed to have had their child kidnapped outside of a Big Five in Yucaipa. If you recall, right off the bat, from the moment we saw their press conference, everyone was very suspicious of this couple with their story. The mother claimed that she was changing her 7-month-old son in the backseat of her car when someone said, "Hola," and punched her, and she fell to the floor. She said floor, not ground, which I thought was interesting. And when she came to, the baby was gone. And in this particular dark part of the parking lot, which happened at 8 p.m., there were no surveillance cameras, so no one could see if this happened at not, or if anybody was there. They didn't issue an Amber Alert. They found out that the dad had a previous record of child abuse on another child where there was brain damage ensued. How this guy is even out after something like that with other children is truly shocking. Sadly, the son looked like he had some type of special needs. They have not found him. The wife didn't want to take, the mother didn't want to take a lie detector test, and they have been arrested. Both of them have been arrested. And the latest, as of this recording, is the father was seen with police in a field. We are assuming that maybe he was showing them where the body might be, very sadly. So, all of our suspicions were correct right off the bat, that this just, none of it made sense. And I want to do a follow-up on that. Okay. Real Housewives of OC. I will be including, after I talk about this, my interview with Gretchen and Slade. First time they came on the show. We did record it. I did give a preview of it to my Patreon people, and it's been very well received. If you didn't hear it there, you can hear it now. What makes it really juicy and interesting, if you're not following this season of Real Housewives of OC or this at all, you're going to want to listen to this interview, because when I cover housewife stuff, I always try to do it in a way that you don't need to be really watching the show, because it's very relatable. And this involves a very long history between Gretchen and Tamra Judge. She first came on the show in season 4, or I think it was 4, and Tamra had been on for a season prior to that. I'm not exactly sure. But right from the start, it seemed like Tamra kind of had it out for Gretchen, and Gretchen naively thought that Tamra would be a friend to her. And we get into the history of how the show started with her now life partner and father of her child, Slade, how the show actually began when Slade was on with a previous girlfriend. It's very juicy. But what Gretchen wanted to do on the show was really explain what has happened this season, which is this newer cast member. She's only been on 2 seasons. Katie went to a blog, they call them bloggers, podcasters, meme accounts, whatever, and asked her to have lunch, this woman named Kiki. And at that lunch or dinner, she spilled all the juice that she had collected from her castmates. Katie brought it like a silver platter. This is all my opinion. Kiki then went and told other people that do what we do, whether they're legit journalists, authors, podcasters. I think the line is really blurry. And I don't think anybody that talks to someone and is told not to tell, if they go and tell, I don't think that makes you a journalist or someone of high integrity. Whatever. It's all Bravo stuff. I mean, this isn't a criminal case. So though the fans are making it seem like it, and Gretchen is on trial. So Gretchen really wanted to clear the air what happened. Basically, what happened was 17 years ago on the show, or whatever it was, a long time ago, Gretchen was new to the show, and she was engaged to an older man named Jeff, who she gets into that in the interview of how they met and what their love affair was like, who had cancer. He has since passed. they presented her as the gold-digging young harlot, whatever, on the show. And Tamara really was trying to, I think, get that out there when she says, did you go to Bass Lake? You went to Bass Lake. Like, Gretchen can never have one day off or do anything fun while her fiance is suffering with cancer. And it was like, but I can't remember what came first or what, but they have this infamous night, and Tamara has a dinner party. And now we're seeing the scenes. Everyone's putting up the scenes again of this night, which if this aired today, you would be hands down canceled. I mean, basically, Tamara says, we are going to get Gretchen wasted, naked, wasted. And I have my 22-year-old son, Ryan, bartending. And the producers show us footage throughout the night of them plowing tequila shots into Gretchen, in which she says, I've been at the hospital for, this amount of time. This is, so it's like she's probably sleep deprived. She probably hasn't been out or had fun in a while. And there's cameras, and, she's getting all this attention, and drinks are being given to her at this small dinner party at Tamara's house. Lynn Curtin, a cast member, says to her, slow down. Like, you need to drink some water. Gina Kino is like, what the hell is going on here? Looking at the producers like, what the fuck is happening? Gretchen's getting more drunk. Ryan, the 22-year-old son, is, coming around and really, really flirting with her. And she's kind of slurring her words. And then he follows her into the bathroom, and they have the whole exchange. We hear it because they've got their mics on. Gretchen says no to his advances numerous times. It's really quite shocking. Numerous times. And she's like, you're cute. You're attractive, but I have a very nice fiance, and no, don't try, stop. And he's like, just one more kiss. I mean, so predatory. I mean, no way, if this was happening today, would producers not go right in there and take her out. And, but this is a long time ago. Also in the episode, then we see that Lynn Curtin, her husband, say, we will take Gretchen home. And Tamara says, I offered her a cab or to stay at my house, and she'd rather stay at my house. So and then Gretchen says Tamara says in a confessional, Gretchen stayed at my house. I think that's really important. Cut to all these years later, Gretchen and Katie off camera have a meal with Jen and Ryan. And I'm sure in discussing and catching up on her history with the castmates, she tells them many stories that she believes has happened with Tamara and maybe the other housewives. And this story gets told. Katie then goes and meets with this girl, Kiki. Now, I have heard personally from like 10 to 12 other people that Katie has also DM'd people like this, that anybody that has Bravo in their medium account, Katie has gotten a hold of you. Either talked to you on the phone, met with you in person, DM'd you, sent you articles, or all of the above. I don't know why Katie thought this was a great idea, but I think she just wanted to get anybody in the Bravo universe on her side because she was so pissed that Emily and Heather brought up the fact that she did not have legal custody of her children on the last reunion, which I do think was a pretty low blow by their part. So in sharing all the scoop at lunch, she tells Kiki, allegedly, that Gretchen was so wasted that night that she had to go to the hospital the next day. Then that story gets relayed. Then Kiki goes and tells a couple other people, and then those couple other people tell Tamara that this story's going around, and now it's that Gretchen said that she was roofied and went to the hospital. Cut to Tamara sits on it for weeks. Now they're filming, and Tamara brings it up to Gretchen. Why? I don't know. Does nobody have a subscription to Peacock? Does nobody want to rewatch what you did on the shows in the past Real Housewives of OC, girls? You guys have filmed each other. You tried to plow drinks into Kelly Dodd in Ireland. You have made up horrible lies about many people, including Kelly and the Train. You've all been part of awful rumors and things. You've done awful things. This, I think, being one of the worst ones because it involves your son being quite predatory. Like in this, I believe Tamara was real Ghislaine Maxwell-ish. Okay, I'm going to say it. This is my opinion. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why she would want to bring it up. I don't know, having this knowledge, why it infuriated her enough to want to expose this when Tamara has also been one of those people that's talked to all of us, myself included, years and years back, behind the scenes, over and over, like so many people, in sharing information. She was doing what Katie was doing before anybody was doing it, okay? So all of it is there, and then Gretchen says, no, like this is not, never said that. I never said roofied. Like, what are you talking about? So then the show airs on Thursday and it gets brought up and Gretchen says, did I go to the hospital? I don't know. I should have gone to the hospital. Something like that. And she explains the state she was in when she stated that in the car, because that's where the discrepancy comes. That's why I'm glad that she did my interview, which we taped at the end of last week. And why then when I listened back and I watched it, why I think it's really important that you look at it in the way of what does it matter if she went to the hospital or she didn't go to the hospital. I believe Gretchen that she never said about the hospital. She may have said, yeah, it was pretty bad, whatever. It was never a story to be repeated to anybody for an article in a newspaper or a podcast or whatever. It was a girlfriend venting to another girlfriend at a dinner. And it was really a case of, I think, miscommunicated telephone, exaggerated things. And even if she did say it, in my opinion, who the fuck cares? Like, this was a horrible thing that happened. She was probably hungover for 3 days. However, she spent the night at Tamara's. So Tamara knows, and she knows that she didn't go to the hospital. So why would she have said it, and why would she have made that up? And again, the bigger picture is what went down all those years ago. And there's so much history there, which I will get into on this week's Patreon, of that I know about my involvement of when I was really close to all the girls years ago, when I was the only one doing this. And I did have the scoop. And guess what? I didn't fucking tell. I didn't go tell 12 other people because there weren't 12 other people doing this, let alone 120 people, which is probably the amount of people that Katie has spoken to. So Katie denies it. Gretchen's trying to clear the air. And there were a lot of comments about what you're going to hear in this interview. And one was that I asked, why are you and Slade not married? And she said, well, we put it off many years ago because we wanted not to get married until all Americans could get married. And people were writing, oh, that's convenient. Now you say that, Gretchen, as if she didn't really mean it when she sat on my couch. Well, in 2013, there was an article written in which Gretchen Rossi says, I'm 100% behind gay marriage. And she says right here, I'm 100% behind gay marriage. The Orange County housewife firmly tells Star Plus, I have so many wonderful friends in the community. Some have been with their partners for over 20 years. It would be great if they could get married and show the world their love and commitment in the same way that straight couples can. She said that in 2013. So I'm just saying this is not for show. And also, I remember she threw the Tupperware party with a very famous drag queen that is just the greatest Tupperware person. Quesadilla in 2010, if you know, like very fun. So I'm just saying these things can be strewed a certain way. And I do believe that it's just gotten really dark in that I feel that, Tamara has had it out for her and has been putting out things. And I think it's been very obvious. And again, that is my opinion as somebody who not only has interacted with these people for 20 years behind the scenes, but also has watched the episodes, remembers it, and is watching the new dynamics of social media and how it drives a storyline. So with that being said, I want you guys to listen to this interview. I think you'll really like it. I think you'll have a different perspective. And with all that being said, it's a juicy season. It's a juicy season. It's got us all talking. So for all the players involved, touche. Maybe it'll be different next year, but this is the story now. So here we go. I love Hungry Root because they take the stress out of mealtime by planning a full week of meals tailored to your taste. And it gets smarter with every order. With over 15,000 recipes to choose from each week, many ready in just 15 minutes or less, it's so easy to find options that fit your whole family's tastes and nutritional goals. I love it because when my daughter's around, we can do gluten-free. There's dairy-free. There's high protein, which I'm all about. You can focus on gut health. I mean, you really can get specific. And Hungry Root just really keeps you on track with your fitness and health goals. And there's a whole smart cart, which you get after you take their quiz, which really helps you build a weekly menu that fits your needs. So it's really like having a personal meal planner for you. I'm a poke bowl girl. I absolutely love their salmon poke bowl. It's so fresh. It's so easy. I'm full after I eat it, and I feel like I did good for my body. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box. Plus, get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/juicyscoop and use code JuicyScoop. That's hungryroot.com/juicyscoop, code JuicyScoop, to get 40% off your first box and free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/juicyscoop, code JuicyScoop. Live It Up Super Greens is an all-natural blend of over 20 superfoods formulated with organic, vegetable, probiotics, digestive enzyme, and naturally derived ingredients. It's so easy, especially for busy moms getting back into the school mode. It's time that you take care of yourself. All you do is just 1 scoop a day, and you will find that you can promote gut health, support your immune system, and give you that feel-good energy that you really can count on. You just mix it in water, milk, or a smoothie. Make it a healthy habit you'll look forward to, and you'll never believe a green drink tastes so good. I absolutely love it. I've been using it for a couple weeks now, and I really feel I have a boost of energy. I feel like I'm getting the nutrients that I need. Sometimes when I don't have time to get all of the green salads and all that in the day because I'm running around, I know that I'm getting it through Live It Up. Live It Up is offering you 15% off your first order, including subscriptions with code JuicyScoop, plus shipping's always free. Head to letsliveitup.com/JuicyScoop and use code JuicyScoop for 15% off your first Super Greens order. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I'm very excited because I've got a super juicy one for you today. Reality, royalty, Gretchen Rossi, Slade Smiley, Real Housewives of OC, parents to Skylar Grey, most famous little child, beautifully dressed, always coordinated. Your Instagram is really fun to follow, and I love. I don't know if you've ever referred to, but I started something years ago when I started following you that you are always going to these fancy parties, and I call them the cupcake ladies.
Oh, the cupcake ladies because of Casey being the cupcake?
No, I didn't even know that she was a cupcake
that's
lady.
Hilarious.
I just thought that you guys looked like pretty cupcakes all the time.
That's so funny.
And because it was always like, oh, we're doing a Tiffany's theme. Oh, we're doing a pink and diamonds theme.
Yep.
And I was just always like, why are these girls not on the show? And then you just said they're too nice.
Oh, you know what? They've all been asked. They all have been asked to do the show. And they really are. They're like the nicest humans ever. And they just would never want to be involved in that kind of crazy drama.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like it's just not their cup of tea. Film Housewives or go to Saint-Tropez?
Yeah, exactly. They're
we'll
like, we would go to Saint-Tropez.
Yeah. Speaking of which, and then we're going to get into the juice, but how much preparatory time do you have to go to these fancy parties, and does anybody eat at them? At these fancy lunches?
Okay, I'll give you a juicy scoop. So we definitely eat, but we always have like this big fancy cake, and everyone's like, who's the cake for? Well, the cake is mainly fake except for the very top piece. That's just the small piece because the other 2 layers are just faux.
Yeah.
to like make the cake look like really big and pretty so that it's like cute for our theme. But the top part is the only part of the cake that's like edible. Isn't that funny?
And you do eat the cake?
Oh, we do. Yeah.
You do eat
we
the
definitely
cake.
do.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but how much, now, has it ever happened that one of the cupcake girls is having a competing fancy lady luncheon party in Newport, or do we all
That's a
coordinate
good
before?
question. No, because most of our friend groups are like, because that group that is together is like one group, so we all
They're
are
very
friends.
well coordinated.
And then
you're
if there's
all friends.
another, and we're all friends. So when there's a party, we're all planning a party because there's 12 girls in the group, so there's basically 12 parties throughout the year.
How
so we know.
hard would it be to get me invited just to one cupcake party?
So you're not allowed to be invited because they cut off anybody else being allowed to be in the group. I swear to God.
I really actually love your honesty, because so many times when I've asked to be invited to something, people are always like, "Oh my God, absolutely," and then I never hear from them.
It's been
I
made
love
very
that you're
clear.
like, "No, we've cut
And
it
I
off."
only know
we've
when the
cut it
parties are coming because sometimes the guys call me going,
Right.
dude,
There's
it's
lots
another
of,
party.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
are we
always
just
like a
going to have
50th
cigars
birthday.
and have a whiskey in the corner? Like, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, and you do have to prep because there's always a theme, so you have to get like the look for it, and then we have to call the cake people, and we get the flowers. Listen, we're all about just celebrating life and making things special for our girlfriends, and we just have a really fun time at these parties, and it's an excuse to like get dressed up, be with your girlfriends, and just have a nice lunch.
How much time, honestly, is spent on the Instagram shoots? Just as you're there, you all have a good Instagram following.
At least probably the first 15 minutes, we'll take pictures.
You try to get that out of the way.
Yeah, we get it out of the way, so then the rest of the time we can enjoy ourselves.
Thank you. This was riveting. Honestly, I have been talking about the cupcake ladies
a well-oiled
for
machine.
years.
Yes, it is a well-oiled machine.
So, Slade, you entered the world of Real Housewives of OC first. And
Did you tell Vicky Gumbelson that?
oh my God, that's right.
First.
And yes.
First spinoff. First.
And that was where you and Joe, right,
feel
were
about
going
it.
to have a dating show.
Yeah, you
had a
know
dating
that
show.
story?
I know the story, and I remember.
But you know why
watching
it happened?
Why?
Because I was offered The Bachelor.
Really? So wait, tell me how that came about. So for people that are like, newbies to the world of the OC, it was a totally different show back then.
Yeah.
You were at a charity event with Scott Dunlop, and he was like, and it was like, who wants to be on a pilot or something? And what was the story?
So Scott and I had already talked.
And
So
he's the creator of the show.
Yeah, he's the creator of the series. He came out of the Groundlings. Very funny, kind of dry humor guy.
Yeah.
I was doing some light acting. I was doing some commercial work, and I moved into the neighborhood. So I was a couple houses up from him. And a mutual neighbor introduced us, and he said, "You should know Slade. He does some stuff, up in LA, and I'm doing this show. Like, you should be part of the show. It's gonna be really funny. We're gonna do our own version of Curb Your Enthusiasm."
That's how it was sold to you.
That's how it was sold to me. It's all comedic.
Honestly, that's my favorite thing of how housewife shows were sold to people.
Right?
Which is not what it was.
It was not
We're
at all.
going to focus on your charity work.
In his defense, though, it was. It really was
different. It was
because
really different.
If you saw the first trailer, like with the original trailer, it's really funny.
Yeah.
It was always about the families, and they had characters. They had the guy who was the 70 and 7. He made $70,000 every 7 minutes.
Who was that?
Well, he would stand in his backyard.
But it wasn't meant to be a reality show.
No,
That's
it was a comedy.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's
This was
what,
1,000
It wasn't
a comedy.
supposed to be
So
like
there were characters.
real life. It was like a character.
I remember being at the grocery store and seeing like a Star or magazine or something, and then promoting the Real Houses of Orange County holding an orange. And my first thought was, what a brilliant idea. This is a parody of Desperate Housewives holding an apple.
Yes.
And I was like, I was a fan of reality shows even back in the day. So I was like, from MTV, the first one, The Real World. So I was like, oh, I cannot wait to watch the show. What a smart idea. So
that is the brilliance, I want to say, of NBC and Bravo.
Yeah.
Because it was originally designed to be this unscripted comedy. Mm-hmm. It was our version of Curb Your Enthusiasm. So the concept was exceedingly wealthy people in the largest gated community in the United States, highly dysfunctional. Right?
Yeah.
So you had a character. You had the guy who's 70 and 7, $70,000 every 7 minutes. And he'd be in his backyard and he'd go, oh, what a great day. I just made $70K. It was really slapsticky, kind of funny. There was a kid called the Boomerang. Every time his parents kicked him out, he'd come back again.
This
So-
is what was pitched to you because I don't
No,
remember
this
these
is the
parts.
actual trailer.
Oh, this
for
was the
What
trailer.
was pitched to the network.
Oh.
So we filmed for 3.5 months doing satire, doing a lot of setup, a lot of comedic stuff.
So that's
And it
where
was-
we see like her in the Joe in the French maid
Yes.
costume and things like that.
Exactly. So for the first 3 months of production.
And when you did like that weird scene where you were like doing exercise and you're like, I got it going on. Like
Yeah.
those
it's
sort
all
of things.
designed to be slapstick.
Right.
But what happened is 3 months into production, the network came back and said, look, we've been really thinking about this and we want to change format. We want to call it a docusoap. So we want to film you in a documentary style, but be soap opera-esque in the stories that we tell. And this whole reality genre is kind of blowing up. So we've decided we want to be the answer to the afternoon soap opera. So now we're going to focus on the women. The husbands and kids will kind of be ancillary. And we're going to do all this. However, we don't want to lose the 3 months of footage. We're still going to use it. So you can imagine now what you were doing with satire. I mean, I'm on the golf course with my assistant.
Right.
I tee off and I'm like, Megan, grab my balls. You know,
Right,
It's
yeah.
designed to be slapstick. Or my
Right.
clients are coming to me and they're saying, hey, dude, like you really suck at golf.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but I'm rich. You know,
Saying these obnoxious
Yeah.
funny things because
Yeah.
you're playing like
You're playing
a
into
douchebag.
that
You're,
character,
you're playing a
total douchebag
Newport
character.
douchebag.
And so 3 months
because you
into
had
that-
a Hummer too.
well,
That
I had a
helps.
Hummer and I was
That
looking to
helps.
get one. That's right, Orange County.
And by the way, when I watched the show, because I had known him because he was a title rep and I was selling real estate. When I watched the show, I was like, who the hell's this guy? Like, that's not who I know, like
Right.
in my day-to-day life. Like, why is he being so douchey on TV? But it's because of this whole story that I didn't know.
So it comes out and it's like a slow hit. Because I'll tell you, when I was at Chelsea lately, I was doing imitations of Vicky, and they're
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "I'm telling you, like, we have to start watching
Watching the show, talking about it.
And
Yeah.
then finally, not until New Jersey did we do a parody, the first parody ever of Housewives I wrote, which was a parody of their reunion because we had Teresa.
Right, I remember that.
And all
I
that.
remember
and I
that.
played
Funny.
Slutty Danielle with the legs.
I
and
remember that. That was
Teresa
funny.
and Chelsea was Dina Manzo, and a guy played my friend who Brad Wallach, who is naturally a redhead. He looked gorgeous as Caroline Manzo. Like, it was hilarious. It was all so funny. Chris Frangiola was Andy. Like, it was really great.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
then,
funny.
so then once it starts getting going, you and Joe break up.
Yep.
But they come to you to say, would you be interested in being the Bachelor?
Yes. They come to me and say that, well, Joe and I break up. Scott Dunlap says to me, I want you part of the show. Can you take Lori on a date?
Oh.
And I go, yeah, I'll take Lori on a date. She's awesome. I'm single. She's single. She's a great lady. So we go out and we hang out.
Yeah.
All suddenly it's like, oh, he's chasing housewives, right?
Yeah.
That's. And it's like, no, we're friends. We're working together. We're both single. I take the girl on a date.
I mean, she was cute. Wow.
Well, yeah. I mean,
right?
we're friends with Lori and George today. I mean, she's great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I always remember when she got George and Vicky, and she gets that car, and Vicky's like, the jealousy where
Seeping.
we're seeping jealousy, but you also want to be happy with your friend, but you're
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
those real moments of like, he's the best guy in the world. Like, she was just like, you know. And then of course Lori did get the best guy in the
I
world.
know.
You know,
And-
they're so meant to be
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
they're such a great
they're
couple.
a great couple. Yeah.
So, okay, sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
So
So,
that
you do that
happens.
little date thing.
And then I was offered an opportunity to go do The Bachelor.
Yeah.
And so I go back to the network and I said, I'm going to take this opportunity. They go, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I go, what do you mean? You're contracted to NBC. You can't go do ABC.
Right.
I'm like, "Ugh, this is not cool. And they go, look, we'll develop something, you know, around this concept. And the idea was to become the real Bachelorette.
Okay.
And so that's when they pulled
Before
Joe back
that
in.
was
Joe
even-
was already dating and she was off and
Yeah.
we'd been separated for a minute. We were still doing some work together because I would help produce her record album and she wanted to sing and all these
Yeah.
things. But she was off doing her own thing. So that's what they decided to do. Here's the concept. Joe's going to be the real Bachelorette. The guys live in your house and they're going to try to, you know, work with you to win her over. So that's how that happened.
And then
I feel
the
like you're
end
gonna
of the
hate how you're
twist,
sitting.
the end of the
feel like you're
twist
gonna hate it.
is
Can you sit up and put that up a
Well,
little
when
more?
you're changing,
I know
she's
him
like,
well
I'm
enough.
like-
he's
I'm
gonna
like-
look and go, I look so fat. I know he's gonna do that. I know he's gonna say that. So I'm trying to help my man out here.
look.
There
yeah, do that. I like
There you
the pillows.
go.
I like the pillows for
The
that
pink
reason.
pillow looks cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait. Question.
Okay.
Yes, I remember that, and I remember at the end. Then the twist was, I'm going to be one of the final guys. right? It was
Oh,
so.
you're talking about the guy that got kicked out?
No, then
she's
you
saying
came
you said
at the
that.
end.
And you said,
there
I'm
was
gonna-
like, there was a twist.
He's like, I don't
that
remember
I knew
that.
was fake watching it, but it was like at the end, the twist
Yeah,
was,
if
I want to
He's
be,
like,
I want to be in the running.
I want to be in the running.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah.
That was definitely someone other than me suggesting that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that show has a one and done situation.
Yeah, they came back and asked to do season 2.
Uh-huh.
It actually did pretty well.
With other people or you guys again?
No, Joe wouldn't cooperate. It was supposed to be my turn.
Oh,
And Joe said
then
no.
she was going to find you some.
refused to
She said
cooperate
no.
because she had already run off with whoever she was doing at that time.
Sure, she regrets that one. So just
Whatever.
because, why not? You could have put her in a different thing. That she's a very nice person.
Yeah.
Okay, so then when do they approach you to join the season?
It's his fault.
Okay, tell the story.
So then they were looking for somebody to replace Joe and Slade, and I'm
Season 2?
at season 4.
Four, right.
Season 4, because they left season 2, and then they did their spinoff, and then they had come to him and said, we're looking for somebody that's similar like you and Joe, like
Yeah.
a younger couple or younger, like,
Yeah.
person like that. And so we're at a mutual birthday party, a friend of ours, and him and Joe were there, and he starts talking to me about doing the show, and I was like, oh, hell no. I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I have no interest in the show. And he's like, well, just think about it. Producers want to talk to you. And I was just like, no. Well, he gives them my number, and they start calling me, and I was just like, I'm not interested in doing this. Like,
Now, at that time, are you dating your...
I'm with Jeff.
Yeah, she's
You
dating
are
Jeff.
dating
Yes,
Jeff.
I'm with Jeff. And so I was just
Were you
like,
engaged yet?
gosh, this is so many years
I don't
ago.
think
Was
you
I
were.
engaged yet? I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
So many years ago. I mean, this is what,
And what was
18
that like
years
dating
ago?
someone so much older?
It's weird because it just kind of organically happened. Like it happened over a period of time because I sold him a house. So that's
Okay.
how I met him originally. And I didn't realize until much later that he was like smitten with me and wanted to like take me out on a date. Like he would make comments and stuff. Cause then I ended up helping him like decorate the house because I've done that for a lot of clients. And so I didn't really get it till much later. But honestly, we ended up falling in love, and I didn't see the age difference. I just didn't. Like
How much was it?
it was, I think, 23 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but he was just such an incredible, amazing man. Like, my parents and we would travel with him. Like, he was just a great, great human. So I never really saw it that way. But looking back, I mean, I was clearly naive, saying yes to the show and getting on.
I have
and
to say, they must have seen this beautiful girl with this older guy. It's such a classic Newport story.
It's
like, oh,
I know.
we got it. We got a good one.
And here's the worst part. So the very first scene they do with us, and of course they don't show like exactly what the deal is, but we're in Michigan and I'm filming with Jeff in Michigan, and they say, oh, let's go to the jewelry store that Jeff is part owners in and go around the jewelry store and show all the pieces that you like in a store. But they forget to tell the audience that Jeff is part owner in the jewelry store. So it looks like I'm walking around the jewelry store going, I love this and I love this and I love this. And I'm like, I watched the first episode and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Like, why didn't I
gold
know that
digger.
they were like going to
Yeah.
set me up to look like this? So that was hard because, I had been a very successful real estate agent for many years on my own. I was in the top 7% internationally for Coldwell Banker. Like, I did well for myself. And I think that's part of the reason that Jeff liked me, because he's so used to women like being like, oh, Jeff, you have all this money. And I was like, I don't need your money. I can take care of myself,
Yeah.
So yeah, I walked right into it, not even realizing that it was going to make me look like that. So
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. You can feel great about what you're putting in your body since Nutrafol hair growth supplements are backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF content certified, the gold standard in third-party certification of supplements. My own experience has been, I've been taking it for a couple years now. I absolutely love it. I'm getting nutrients that come through my body and reflect in my head of hair. And as we get older with changes in our body as we age, hair is not what it might have been. And being someone that has always loved my hair and my thickness and my love, I knew I needed to add to get this hair going the way it used to be. And that is why I love Nutrafol. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our Juicy Scoop listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Juicy Scoop. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code Juicy Scoop. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Juicy Scoop. Did you guys know that all chips and fries used to be cooked in tallow up until the 1990s when big corporations switched to cheap processed seed oils? Today's seed oils make up 20% of the average American's daily calories, and recent studies have linked seed oils to metabolic health issues and inflammation in the body. I'll be honest, I didn't really understand that. When I heard about seed oils, I didn't really get it until now. Let me tell you about Masa. Masa decided to do something about it. They created a tasty and delicious tortilla chip with just 3 ingredients and no seed oils, organic nixtamalized corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. These chips don't only avoid all of the bad stuff, they taste incredibly good. They're really tasty. I love a chip with a sandwich or a lunch or just a little snack when I just need something. Masa is crunchier, tastier, and sturdier than other chips, so it doesn't break in your guac, which is what I like. I'm going to have a chip. I want it with a good dip. Masa Chips is beloved by 10,000s of customers, and it has been endorsed by industry-leading health and nutrition experts. Ready to give Masa a try? Go to masachips.com/juicy and use code JUICY for 25% off your first order. That's Masa Chips, M-A-S-A, chips.com/juicy, and code JUICY for 25% off your first order. So when you join the first time, right off the bat, we do see there's a blonde butting of blonde heads between you and Tamra.
Right.
And jokingly, she says, before you get in the car, hang on to your daddies, girls,
Right.
Like you're a husband stealer or whatever.
Right.
And did you came in just so like, hey,
Yes.
Not
Yes.
understanding what's going
Clueless.
on. Do you think it started there? Because I know there were times when throughout the seasons, you guys did have a come to Jesus and
Try to be
got
friends.
to hang out.
Yeah.
What do you think it was from the very start? Why there was this thing with her appearing to be against you?
Here's the thing. I wish I knew because I back then I didn't understand it. So many years later, after being able to, look back and see what was happening, and everybody at the time was like, she's so jealous of you. And I felt like it was conceited to be like, oh, she was jealous of me. You know what I mean? Because it just felt weird saying stuff like that. But looking back, I feel like she was always like, I'm the hottest housewife. I'm, this, that. And then I come in and then it's like, somebody's stealing a little bit of that limelight from her, getting, oh, look at this cute girl. Who's this person? And I just think that she just didn't like that. Like she didn't like anybody coming in and taking over any of that reign for her. And then the audience really started liking me. So then it was like, she was just determined to be like, she's this horrible human being and she's this and she's that. And I was just like, wow.
And also back then, we didn't have the access of knowing truly who the audience was rooting for or anything because
Right.
Yes,
There
wasn't
really
like
wasn't a
social
thing.
media.
there was
Yeah.
barely even a reunion the first couple of years,
Right.
and there
Yeah.
wasn't podcasts, and there weren't,
Right.
like sometimes you guys would do those blog things, and then you'd have to do that like a homework assignment,
Right.
Yeah.
And then so it was a really kind of a different thing. But
Yeah.
there was that scene where Gina Kino goes, "Oh well, Gretchen, is another cute blonde," and and she kind of calls it on it.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it, but it's true. It was like you had Vicky and Gina who were kind of similar of age and,
right.
attractive, but not of the same, I think like level of just like being done.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is very interesting. So then we have you on the show for how many years were you on it for?
I did the show for half a decade. So what is that? 5 seasons? Yeah.
And between your fiance passing and dating Slade, you stayed on the show the whole time, or did you leave in between? I can't remember.
No, I stayed on the show. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so how does your romance begin then with Slade?
So Slade and I had known each other for 10 years.
Right.
And so we were just good friends for many years. Cause like I said, he was a title rep or he owned a title business. And then I was a real estate agent. So we had known each other for several years and been really good friends. And then after when Jeff was really sick, and then after Jeff passed away, he was like one of the only people in my life that called and checked on me all the time. And because he was going through it with his own son. So it's like he just knew what it was like to always be in a hospital and be drained and tired and dealing with all of the stuff that you have to do is, dealing with somebody that's sick. And so he would just check in on me all the time. And I remember, especially after Jeff passed away, he would check in on me, and then he would be calling me and talking to me about all the girls he would be dating to try and just he'd have to date 5 women to feel like he was dating the person that he wanted, because he just could not find anybody that he really liked or whatever. And so we would talk about this, and then he would call me and be like, can my girlfriend come down and stay at your house? And I'm like, sure. That was the relationship that we had, because his girlfriend was coming down. She was a model. She needed a place to stay. And I was like, absolutely. So we had this relationship for 9 months. And then I was going to my first business meeting since Jeff had passed, and it was with men, and I felt a little vulnerable still. So I called him and I was like, hey, would you mind coming and being kind of the male presence to represent me in this meeting?
Is this when you were doing your makeup and bags and stuff?
Gosh, I don't even remember what the meeting was, but probably.
Yeah.
And
it was just before that.
And so maybe. And so I walked into this meeting, and he walked through the door, and I remember literally going, huh, I don't ever remember him being that cute. It was this really weird aha moment. And I think because in timing in life, when I'm no longer with somebody and he's no longer with somebody, he walks in, I was just like, huh, this is weird. And then in the meeting, the guys that were in the meeting were like, is there something going on between you two? Because it was so obvious that we were giddy and flirting with each other and all this stuff. And then that night we went
rescheduled, right?
Yeah,
they wanted to reschedule.
They were like, okay, well, let's just have a second meeting or whatever, because we were just
flirting.
giddy.
Yeah.
And so then we went to dinner that night, and literally I feel like we haven't spent a day apart since then. I don't know, it was just weird. It was just and 4 days later we went to Vegas, and on that drive to Vegas, we literally said we felt like we could tell each other we loved each other. It was so weird. And then we didn't tell each other we loved each other till a month later, but we both said in that moment, and when we were driving to Vegas, we felt
like we wanted to say it.
We knew we were going to be together for the rest of our lives. We knew it in that moment.
So then when you're filming the show, and now it's oh my gosh, Gretchen's dating Slade.
Yeah.
How was that reaction? Because this is this certainly isn't a story I have ever heard before. Didn't know.
Well, we tried. I said no initially
to go back on it.
He said he didn't want to go back on, and then at the time it was Kathleen French, and Kathleen French calls me, and I remember this so distinctly. She calls me and she goes, out of anybody, why Slade Smiley? You could have Richard Branson. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about?
The airline, Virgin Airlines.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm sorry that I happened to fall in love with Slade Smiley. And it was, to me at the time, I remember thinking it was such an odd question, because it's because I fell in love with him. And it was they wanted me to have somebody that was richer, older, whatever. I don't know. It was really
I think it also had to do with the fact that when we did the spinoff show, I was in those development meetings. I worked with production pretty closely on that, because I'm technically almost hosting these guys.
Yeah.
And so as things are happening and transpiring, in that reality, I'm working directly with production to keep story moving.
Yeah.
So you kind of step behind the wall a little bit, and you're working closer with production than you are just being someone who's out front in a reality position.
Yeah.
And so to go back on this show, but yet have worked with them in a different capacity,
that's interesting.
It's just a different relationship.
Yeah.
It becomes very different.
Right.
Yeah.
But so then you guys are on the show for how many seasons together before you take the big break?
That was 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4 seasons.
And everyone now is aware of what season was the Naked Wasted.
Was that
4?
Yeah, that's
4.
when
the
I first came
Naked
on.
Wasted thing happens. I talked about it on the previous show, and that, of course, someone wouldn't do that today, because it's not okay to get someone that drunk and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So now we jump to the show and the latest episode.
Yeah.
So why do you claim, no, I never said roofied. Katie said that you told her on a night out that you were so drunk that night that you believe that you were roofied, meaning roofied means somebody slipped something in your drink. It doesn't mean I fed you too many shots of tequila. It means a drug that's not legal was slipped in someone's drink so that they lose all control.
Right.
So you're shocked by that when Tamara reveals that to you.
Right.
And now in this latest episode, you're in the car. Explain what happened and what was going on.
So what happened was when Tamara tells me that story, I'm obviously blindsided. I'm just like, wait, what? Like my brain is trying to comprehend what Tamara just told me that supposedly Katie said I said. And my brain starts going back because you got to remember, this is months and months prior, like back in September, October that
when you guys chatted.
Is when we went to dinner. Me and Katie, Jen, Ryan, and Matt. We all went to dinner, and it was a 3-hour dinner. So there was a lot of conversation that was happening that night. And Matt and Katie had asked like what my experience had been with Tamara. The boys are down at one end kind of talking about their stuff. The girls are at this end talking about one thing. And so then it was just like any other conversation I would have with you, I would have with anybody.
Right.
You know what? My experience with her has not been great. Like there's been a lot of things over the years. She tried to get me naked wasted at one point, and she was like, naked wasted, what's that? And I explained to her what naked wasted was. She tried to get me drunk, da, da, da. And I was like, yeah, and I was so sick. I probably should have gone to the hospital the next day. That was the gist of what happened that night. So when all of a sudden I'm hearing now months and months and months later that Katie is telling some blogger that I said that I got roofied by Tamara, I'm just like, wait, what? I'm like, I couldn't even comprehend what she was telling me in that moment. So then we're in the car, and you can see in the scene where I look very tired. I'm exhausted. We've been filming for 2 days straight. I just get, blindsided by this information. And she says, so did you ever tell Katie that you went to the hospital? And you see me
Wait, who asked that again?
Tamara asked.
Okay.
And so you see me in the car kind of being like, because I'm trying to remember what happened months prior. I'm like, did I tell Kate? Like, I'm trying to think of like what was said that night. And clearly I misspeak in that moment, just like all of us on this show have done before.
I could see in your face, like you were exhausted. And almost like if you look at the scene, it's like she's almost experiencing again the horror of being that embarrassed and being taken advantage of. I could just see her.
Well, it's like I was having PTSD from it. It's like weird. Like you can see that I'm like really distraught, just going.
And she was mumbling. She was mumbling, like she was thinking through, like she was mumbling, going back to that moment in time. And they put the words up on the screen.
It's like
I don't think what she said was clear.
I can barely
honestly,
hear what
you're
I say.
telling me this because I'm a big true crime person.
Yeah.
And my sister is a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah.
It's like reminding me of when someone like inadvertently like confesses to a crime because they're being like, have another cup of coffee. Let me talk to you now.
Right?
Like, you're finally
and you
like,
would think
I guess
that.
I was there.
No.
Can I go home now?
And I totally get what you're saying, but like that's not what it was. I mean, and even when I saw the episode, I was like, wait, what? And
you said, so then you do say, yes, I think I said about going to the hospital.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then, and then it like cuts to me saying, no, I never went to the hospital. So I'm sure people are going to like be like, well, that doesn't match up. Well, they're right. Cause the way that it shows, it's not matching up. But my point is that I misspoke in that car ride.
Yeah.
Right.
And Tamara's misspoke about autism, she said, and she's misspoke about the FBI allegations.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like we all have misspoke at some point on the show.
This is a reality show too. Like you should be, if you're truly doing your job as a reality star, you're living in the moment. You're talking, and we've seen it happen on other shows with the Valley and everyone hating Janet because she says something, that seems extreme about another cast member. But at the same time, in her defense, I'm like, well, this isn't a trial.
Right.
You're living in real life.
Right.
It shouldn't be taken as an oath. You did not put your hand on a Bible. This isn't, you weren't prepped by an attorney before you took the stand. Like you're literally living this life,
your life
and you're
I'm
trying
like
to figure
out
Yeah.
what's going on. And so I'm like, did I tell her? Like I was trying to think of what was talked about that night because it has been so long ago. So then, and what's even weirder is then months later, so we go to this dinner in September, October, and then months later, in February, Katie calls Jen and Ryan and says, what was said that night at dinner? So I'm like, nothing's matching up to me here on the stories that Katie's telling. Because now
she calls them. When was February? Was that while you were in New Orleans?
No. This is a 4-month gap.
Yeah.
Between the time that the dinner took place, to when all of a sudden I think we were traveling. Jen and Ryan were traveling. They get a call from Katie, and Katie says, "Hey, what was said that night at dinner about naked wasted?" And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you calling us?
Right. Why are you calling and asking us? So
Yeah.
like, let's call Gretchen and Slade, and they can tell you what
calls
happened.
Jen and Ryan. Okay,
Yeah.
I got
she
it. Got
calls
it.
Jen and Ryan.
So then
they're like, we don't
they
remember.
They call. Well, it's not even that they don't remember. They're like, that's not our story to tell.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
why are you even asking this?
Yeah.
And so then they call Slade. We're in Las Vegas at the time. I'm in the bathroom. I'm kind of overhearing like this conversation, but I can't really hear it because I'm in the bathroom getting ready. And Slade's like, why is she asking about naked wasted? Like, why is she even asking that?
Yeah,
and
like, we're like, who is she talking to?
Yeah, he could hear somebody in the background. And so he's like, who is she even talking to? And then she hangs up the phone. And she's like, never
didn't
mind.
realize that Ryan three-wayed me in on the call.
Oh.
Because Ryan's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. If you have a question about this, you
He's
should
like,
just be
this is
talking
not
to
my
Gretchen
story.
and
Ask
Slade.
Gretchen and Slade.
Let's just call him. And he three-wayed me in. And the minute she heard us on the phone call, she hangs up.
She was just like, okay, never mind. And then like hangs up. And so both him and I are like, that's so weird. So then fast forward to us in New Orleans. And I'm
how
just
much
like,
time is between February and filming in New Orleans?
well, so technically we started filming, but I think New Orleans was like in March, maybe.
okay, right after.
And so I'm just like so confused about why she even asked this, whatever.
Well, the reason she's setting this up for you is because, in the episode, she's adamant that she knows what was said, and she lays out all these specific details.
Yeah. She says,
are not true.
Gretchen, and what's even weirder is, so we're in New Orleans and Katie is swearing that she did not tell Kiki this fake story. She's like, I swear I did not tell Kiki this story. I swear I did not. And she's like adamant. And so I'm believing my friend Katie, and as like an idiot, defending my friend Katie, saying, my friend Katie's telling me she didn't say this. So who am I going to believe? The person that's lied and said all these things about me for years, Tamra, or my friend Katie? So then all of a sudden I'm watching this episode and she's like, I'm no longer protecting Gretchen. I'm telling the truth. Gretchen and Slade have been out spinning this story to everybody. And I'm like, protecting me from what? Your lies? Because I have not gone out and told anybody this. And the point is that had I told anybody the story, it would have already been out. Somebody would have put it out forever ago. And if I actually thought that, I would have been the first person to put it out. Do you know what I mean? Because this was 17 years ago.
Right. If we're going to follow with what Tamra says her beef is with you, is where she says, you've talked about me for years.
Right.
Then why wouldn't you? You're right. Why wouldn't you have brought up this, which there's video evidence of pretty bad behavior, not illegal, but, trying to get your friend pretty drunk on camera. Regardless of if something was to happen to you, you're just not making that girl look that good. I remember seeing it actually on OC with Kelly Dodd. There was this episode when they were in Ireland and Kelly was like, no, I'm good. And then Shannon gets up and goes, make sure her drink is a double or something.
Oh, yeah. You know
and
what?
So there was a little of that. And it's like, still.
But I don't think that's actually what happened,
no,
though.
but I'm saying,
because I heard that story differently. But
you did? Okay, well, I'm saying what we say in camera.
Yeah. What the audience sees.
There was like, well, why are you trying to get me so I'm just saying, it's not great to do to anybody.
Right.
Cameras are not.
Right.
But you're right. If you really had that kind of like visceral reaction where you really, felt like something
like that, I would have been yelling.
Happened.
I would have been yelling that 17 years ago.
Right.
And by the way, I'm not trying to protect Tamra from anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, why when Katie says, I'm no longer defending Gretchen and Slade or protecting them anymore. I'm like, protecting us from what? Your lies? And I think what happened is
why did you say what's it? Because it's like I've had like 5 theories. It's very hard to figure out what was the motivation.
From Katie's point of view is that while she was in New Orleans, I think she started to realize that the women were on to her, that she was out telling bloggers the story.
Got it.
And in particular, Kiki, because they kept saying, no, we know Kiki said you said this, right? And so I think when she got home, she all of a sudden started realizing like, oh shit, I'm going to get busted for this. I need to come up with a plan B as to why I went out and like told people the story. And people have come out even beyond Kiki saying, oh, she told me the story too.
Right.
Other bloggers since the show's been airing. So I'm like, clearly she's the one that's out doing this. I'm not the one that's out trying to spin some story. And really from Tamra's point of view, she should be mad at Katie because Katie's the one that's out trying to like spin the story. If I wanted to have that a story like that out there, if it was a true story, I would have said that 17 years ago. And I certainly am not going to be protecting Tamara over that. I'm going to be telling everybody that. And every single one of those cast members who have known me for years has said, I've known Gretchen for years. She's said a lot of shit about Tamara. She's never once said this. Jen was present at that dinner and she said, Gretchen definitely did not say that. She said she felt so sick, she should have probably gone to the hospital.
Well, didn't the reporter she was trying to leak to investigate to called around?
Yes.
We've never heard that before. No one's ever said that. And because it was never real, they just decided not to do the story.
They're like, we're not even going to post the story because it's not even a legit story. So then Katie and now Matt are doubling down. And
Katie's
now
husband,
Matt's, Katie's husband, is claiming that Slade called him in New Orleans and said, protect Gretchen, hold the line. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And you should tell that story because you're the one that called Matt.
Pretty disappointed in Matt, obviously, because I did call him. We had just had a conversation about you shouldn't be going and speaking to bloggers or media. Like it's not a good look. Obviously, it's against your contracts. You shouldn't be doing it. We just had that talk. So when I get the phone call from her that I'm being told that Katie has done this, I called Matt. I go, Matt, like, not cool. Like, is your wife actually out there doing this? We just had this talk. I swear she didn't do it. She did not say that to Kiki. And I said, well, I don't want to hear a month from now that she actually did it because that's been her track record where she denies. And then all of a sudden she flips and there's an admission. And that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
Is that she is changing her story after denying it on camera.
Because she denied the filming Shannon Bedore, right? Or did she not deny that? I can't remember. There's like 5 things.
I know, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
And see, this is what the audience doesn't see.
Yeah.
That's what you see on camera. Just these 5 things on camera. There's so much going on behind the scenes that people are unaware of all the things that all of us as cast members are catching her in weird lies.
And putting the dots together.
And we're all going, something is weird about this. Something's up with this. And then every time we turn around, like every day we wake up to some new story that Katie's out in the press spinning. And we're like, what's going to be next?
I mean, honestly, I always say that Real Housewives sometimes remind me of when I'd read Shakespeare in high school, but I was too dumb to read it, so I'd get the Cliff Notes. And it's a lot of, and then this person whispered in this ear, and the deception, and then da-da-da-da. And because of this misinformation, this person then did this. And like, it's like a Greek tragedy or a Shakespearean tragedy. Like, it is kind of like a weird,
like a game of telephone sort of thing.
A game of telephone.
But that's such a good analogy because I have to tell you, and I've told her this too. I feel like I'm suffering a bit of a loss because I really enjoyed Katie and Matt.
I really did too.
They were very cool people.
Sad.
We enjoyed hanging out with them, and it's just something that we never expected.
I didn't.
Even though the rest of the cast was trying to warn us, this is who she is. We're like, no, we've never experienced that. And I know Gretchen went out of her way to really defend her because she's like, she's never been that person to me.
Yeah.
Now she's become that person.
And they all were telling me, Gretchen, like, you need to be careful. Like, this is what she does. And I was like, no, like, I did not want to believe it. I did not want to believe it.
What I don't understand is one of the things I have been very interested since I'm doing this podcast are stories where people have lies, elaborate lies, whether it's lying about cancer, Brooks and Vicky, lying about, there's like the cancer scam story of this girl. And there was one that was a writer on Grey's Anatomy. And I'm always really fascinated, like when someone starts something, I always am like, when do you realize it's gone too far and now you don't know how to backtrack?
But I think that's what happened. That's what you kind of see happen, at least for me as being Katie's friend. Because, and what's even weirder for me is that in this episode, like, I'm still in New Orleans, but she's on camera saying, oh, this is what really happened. And I'm like, wait, it's like, it's not the same timing of what happened for me when I'm watching it.
What do you think the motivation was? Or do you think that she found herself exaggerating?
That's what I think it is.
Sitting across from someone for attention, to get them interested, to reel them in?
No, I think twofold. I think, okay, so I don't want to say who she did this with, but there's cast members that she would call and be like, oh my God, I have this story. Like every morning, like, oh my God, this story. I think she's online reading stories all day long, talking to all these bloggers, gathering all this information. And I think that partially what's happening is she's taking part truth of what was talked about.
Of what she read on Reddit or
swear,
a DM
I think
or
that's
whatever.
what's happening.
Yeah.
I think she's combining the two. Whether it's knowingly or not,
Yeah.
I think she's combining two different stories together. And then when she's sitting in front of somebody, because at this time she wasn't like, didn't hate Tamara, but let's be honest, when we were at dinner with her, she wasn't like praising Tamara either. So it's like, I don't know if she's just sitting in front of these bloggers going, Tamara's not a good person. And she's mixing up part of what I said with what other things that she's reading on Reddit or people. Because if you go and look at any of the things that we're talking about Naked Wasted, I mean, the comments are not kind. They're like, Tamara was trying to sexually harass him, da-da-da. So I don't know if she's reading comments on there that Gretchen probably was drugged, roofied. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Where it came from.
I
Yeah.
think she got caught over embellishing.
Well, that's
Yes.
what I think.
And I think to Heather's point, she was probably looking for the attention that I've got some piece of information. I want to facilitate a relationship with this media person.
And get this
What-
person on my side.
my side.
I think she probably, in studying Housewives in the last couple of years, realized there's, especially with New Jersey, where people actually, I don't know if they're in the payroll or what, but there was certain people that would obviously be very pro Teresa or very pro Melissa. And that's all they were unbiased,
Right.
you know? And so, or they were very biased. They were very
right.
biased.
It
They
was
were very
obvious,
biased.
yeah.
They weren't unbiased. And so I think maybe in her being the new girl, she was like, let me befriend these people. So in reporting on the show and talking about the show, and this does happen when you're friendly with some of the housewives. I've been there too. You are a little bit like, well, in covering it, I'm going to be a little biased, you know, whatever. So I think that might have been her goal of just like, let me collect as many people as I can. And when you go to some of these people, because there were so many that they are maybe newer to this space and they're like, I'm really good friends with a housewife. Like it's very, very exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, versus someone like me where I'm like, okay, I've been doing this for 10 years. I was Chelsea lately before. Like I've known everybody for years. And I'm like, yeah, you want to come on the show? Great. If you want to go to someone else's, doesn't change my life, you know, whatever. But to someone like that, that's like a jewel, you know, to be like, oh my God. And then their friends are like a little envious, you know, all that. So I think that kind of was her thing. And then in doing
She didn't expect that the research being done though.
Yeah.
That was going to come back and it was going to get to Tamara that someone was out investigating the story.
But she also didn't expect that a lot of these bloggers or these people were going to come out and call Katie out on her lies. And that's what's happened. Like, I mean, you know,
because they're outing her.
Even just yesterday, another thing came out that somebody's like, oh, she's spinning this story in the press. And it's like every time we're turning around, there's some new blogger, like even the thing that happened with Tamara.
Yeah.
That blogger came out and said, Katie is straight up lying. Like this did happen. She did call me. So it's like, that's the part that's frustrating is the audience thinks we're all just ganging up on Katie and all going against Katie. But it's like she has strategically like done this to each and every cast member. And she's out spinning these really horrific stories about each cast member. And she's done it to every single one of us. Gina, Emily, Heather, Tamara, Shannon, now me. I'm just like, what the heck? Like, why is she doing this?
And I kind of think that the intention wasn't all bad. I think she got, you know, little girl who cried wolf. Like, I think it got where she was just here and there and, oh, isn't this some juicy scoop? And isn't this, and then when she realizes, oh shit,
I'm getting caught for this.
This exaggerated story is
getting
now
out of hand,
going to be on camera and is causing major problems between two, you know, major cast members. And I'm at the center of it. So
And it's
I'm
like-
just going to deny that I said it. And then when she couldn't, you know, and now we get someone reputable being like, no, that's what you said.
Yes.
And like, I'm not even on the cast, you know, with Kiki. And like, so I don't think she sat down and was like, all right.
No, I do.
How do I destroy the women in
I
this
do
women's
agree with that.
lives?
I do
don't
agree
think
with
that
that.
was
I
it.
think
Yeah.
that she like is just out talking and like saying stuff that she maybe heard or like I said that got mixed up between something she thought she heard and then also something she read. And then unfortunately, because of that, and then when she realized she's getting like the girls are on to her, like you're not going to get out of this one. I think that's when she was like, oh crap, I got to come up with another reason. And then all of a sudden she switch the blame to Slade and I are like secretly like plotting and planning. And by the way, why did Slade get pulled into that? Like, that's so weird.
And what did she say about you and Slade?
That was the whole thing about her going, he called Matt and tried to like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? That is not the conversation.
She said that you and I were out trying to get this story out.
Yeah, that we've been out telling all these people this.
All these people. So what she's trying to do
like, I've never told anybody
that
this.
Kiki lied.
Yeah, like, why do you want to even reflect that, like, not a great night?
Right, exactly. And again, like I said, if that was a real story, I would have said that 17 years ago. I'm not trying to protect Tamara from a story like
but you
that.
understand what her plan was. The plan is that if she's denying that she said it to Kiki, so she's trying to convince everyone that you and I are putting the story out so Kiki heard it somewhere else. Kiki's lying.
Right.
That's what she's trying to do. But here's the point. How in the world would Kiki know that Katie knew anything about it?
Yeah.
She could have named anyone if that was the case.
Right.
Of course it came from Katie.
Yeah.
And this is actually something we should clear up right now. Because we've known you for a very, very long time. You know a lot of people in this business. Have you ever heard one time that myself or Gretchen have called and tried to put out a story?
No.
Have I ever, in the 20 years I've known you?
No.
This is the first time we've been on your show.
Right.
Yeah. And you've never ever heard me say, Tamara tried to root for
We've never talked about naked wasted ever.
Okay.
I forgot.
But that's my point. Answer honestly. Like, have you ever heard that?
No.
Ever.
Yep.
And we've been accused of that. Like, as when we left the network last time.
We were accused of that by Tamara. That was her biggest thing.
Leaking stories.
She's out leaking stories. Gretchen and Slade are leaking stories.
What story were you accused of leaking back then?
Oh, no. Tamara said I leaked every story.
Tamara said that we were leaking stories.
She told that to the network back in the day.
I thought I remember, as just a viewer, that it was just kind of like somehow it bothered them that the other cast members, that you guys did your whole engagement thing on the roof.
Yeah. By the way, that was a story that I found out later from a what was it called? They were like with what magazine? Life and Style or Us? I forget.
Yeah. From the West Coast bureau chief.
Yes,
actually,
from the West Coast bureau chief. This is years later. They're like, Tamara's the one that came to us and like leaked that story about it was a fake engagement and all this. And I was like, really? Wow. So it's just so frustrating to me that like, I was accused of all of this stuff and she's the one that was out doing it. And then when you told me that she is already out leaking stories for this season.
I want to say, I remember it and I thought it was really pretty.
Oh, the engagement?
Will you? How did it go? Marry me? It was something like you
saying
my
now.
Time is now. Get it on iTunes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can get it on iTunes still.
Yeah, and you have your radio show and you play and you do cry.
Yeah.
I did.
And
they got me.
I got him good. I got him good.
Here's some more juice on that story is that I had attempted to plan a proposal for her, I think on 2 different occasions, and she found out.
I intercepted the phone because like something came up on his phone from production and said like, let's talk about the ring. And I was like, what? And we have the same passcodes on our phones. Yeah. And so I open it up and I'm like, is this guy like trying to propose to me? And like, I was having issues from my previous marriage, meaning like some like struggles from that. And so
you were married and divorced before you were engaged to Jeff.
Yes. Yes. And so, and I talked about it on the show, like there was some financial things that I found out about my ex that I didn't know until in the marriage and whatnot. So I just had a lot of like anxiety around being back in a situation that had financial issues. And we talked about it openly on the show. At that time, he was going through some financial issues. So I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready to be married yet until you get these things worked out, So when I found that out, I was just like, wait, what? You're trying to like propose to me? And so...
Oh yeah, she messed up.
So I messed
Both
up.
attempts.
I messed up twice, and then I intercepted twice, and then that season, sadly, Grayson got really sick, and he was flown to New York, and he was on life support, and he just had bad issues from the surgery that he had had. And I just remember, being told by the doctors, like, you need to say your goodbyes. Like, it was horrible. And I just remember sitting in that hospital room with him, and I was like, you know what? Like, life's too short. Like, I can't let my past like affect me moving forward with this man. I love him. He loves me. This is ridiculous. And that's why I wrote the song, The Time Is Now. Like, the time's now. Like, let's do this. Let's not wait anymore.
So you have been engaged for like 10 years. How long has it been?
How long has it been?
Might be more.
It might be more.
And at this
We've been
point,
together 16 years.
at this point, you have a beautiful daughter. You guys been together 16 years, engaged for 10 or whatever it is. You have a double ring. You have
Right.
a big diamond with like a very big band. So
We're married. I mean, it seems like we're
now
like
you
married.
feel, what is the reason? Is it still financial, or is it because you're like, it's gone so well, we're going to do a, what's the couple, Goldie Hawn? And,
Yeah.
Oh, a
Yeah,
Goldie and
Kurt
Kurt.
Russell. I always say that. I've always referenced them.
Well,
What is
because we
it?
did have a date on calendar. I ended up booking a film, and we postponed because I went to Mexico for a month on that project.
Yeah.
And then we came back and we had conversations about, trying to replan it. And at that time, we said, we really want to have a baby.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
And,
I was like 37 or something
Yeah.
at that time.
and so we were
started-
going through IVF.
Right.
Yeah.
My fault. To go through the IVF
And IVF
process.
is very expensive.
I know.
And we
Yeah.
went through 5 rounds of it.
Mhm.
So I decided like
Yeah.
rather than putting all this money into a big wedding, I wanted to put it into the IVF. My time was ticking. And so we put it in the IVF. And then after we had Skylar. Obviously you're in mommy mode and you feel like crap for 2 years, getting
Yeah.
through the newborn stage and all that. And it really wasn't until just recently this year being back on the show and everybody like, are you going to get married? Are you going to get married? And we're like, yeah, I mean, now would be a good time because I finally feel good. Skylar's of an age where like,
She could be in
she
it.
could be in
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
So it's never been about not getting married. And honestly, we're fine with it being like this too. So like it could go either way. I mean, we're not sitting around right now like, let's plan our wedding. You know what I mean? But if something comes up where we're like, you know what? Let's go do
The time is now.
The time is now. Let's go do a wedding. Then we're not opposed to that either. And back in the day, like even on the show, there was.
Wait, coming back on the show, were they like, would you guys ever consider doing a wedding on the show?
I mean, we've been asked, like,
We've been asked a couple different times if we would do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about just like wedding stuff. But like even back in the day, like I was on the show and I remember his mom asking about us getting married. And we're like, we're not going to get married until all of our friends within the LGBTQ plus community can get married. And like that was like our stance for a while too. It was
Yeah.
like, we feel like everybody should be able to be married if they're in love,
Right.
So there was just, I don't know. It's just interesting because I don't think we look at each other as we call each other husband and wife. We've been together 16 years. We have a child together. So I don't feel like a marriage license is going to make us feel like we're any more married or not.
I mean, honestly, you guys are like a version of Spencer and Heidi too, because everyone made fun of them.
Right.
Everyone thought
I know everybody
they
loves
were
them.
they were like the villains, and now
Yes.
people are like, oh my god, this is like they've been together like
The
16
longest,
years. This-
yeah.
He's a great husband and dad.
is.
They're super
He's
committed.
taking down Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's going after him.
Yeah, and he's really being a voice for everybody
Yeah.
that lost something in the
Yes,
fires, as well
yes.
as just like the ultimate hype man husband.
Yeah.
And,
He is.
and I remember that early on when we were hanging out, before iPhones were so good, Slade would bring a big fucking huge camera around.
Oh yes, he would. He literally would. He was so sweet because I liked the photos not on the on the camera because they were ugly back then.
Yeah.
The cameras are so much better now. But
Yeah.
I would ask him to bring the big camera because we look better on the pictures.
I know. I remember we all went to dinner one night.
Uh-huh.
I think Mastro's,
Oh,
ironically.
funny.
Maybe.
That's
and
funny.
I think, it was like
That's
Courtney
right.
Six.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
that's
Courtney
right.
Six's
you and
birthday or
me,
something.
And yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we actually came from Heather Dubrow's book party
Oh, how funny.
with Terry,
That's
which
so
that was
funny.
one of those, no offense, people do it, but it was like the book wasn't out.
Yeah.
It was one of those things like, let's promote the book, which you should do anyway. Pre-orders are important
Yeah.
before whatever. So I went to the book party and that was fun.
Mhm.
And that's, and I didn't know that was, I think, during the Cancer Brooks thing. And I remember
Oh,
Vicky's like, they're so mean to me. You have no idea what's going on. I didn't know what the Brooks Cancer thing, So
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? Then we go meet you guys for dinner.
Yeah.
Slade has this good camera. Yeah, it was.
That's
I was
funny.
like, oh my god, like,
That's hilarious.
yeah. Then there was the other time we went to a Christmas, 3 Christmas parties in LA.
I
don't
know. We've been to a lot of events
so
over
it's
the
like
years.
Fun, always
Yeah.
fun, and
Yeah.
it is one of those things that. Yeah, when you see like, oh my God, you were from there from the beginning and you had these other girlfriends. How did you feel when you saw Joe come to the party with Tamra?
The thing that was interesting about that scene is I really didn't care about Joe because
Yeah.
as far as Joe, like that's so old history. I don't
Right.
care, whatever. Her and I had a talk at BravoCon and I thought we were all good and everything
Yeah.
was fine. the part that rubbed me the wrong way is it was obviously Tamra trying to cause issues. And the thing that frustrates me is Tamra's out, in press saying, oh, Gretchen's so stuck in the past. She's just all about the past. She can't let anything go but yet she walks through the door with the past. I'm like, who's holding on to the past here? Like it obviously was to get my goat, which it didn't work. And that's why I said in the episode, like, you're getting rusty here because this isn't even getting my goat. And the truth is too, is Joe had been asking and trying to get on the show. And so it was like, come on, Joe. Like, really, you're going to walk in with my arch nemesis, like, of all the people. Like,
right. And you can't blame if Joe wants to get back on the show. You gotta be in the mix. So it's
I'm not mad about that, but it's like the fact that, but again, and her and I actually kind of got in a fight about that because she was like, you called me desperate on a podcast. And I go, well, I feel like you are desperate. Like, you're literally calling production. I didn't have to call production. They called me. I said no 3 times. Like, you're calling, trying to get on the show, and I'm not. Like, you're calling all the housewives, trying to hang out with them when you're not even friends with them. You're walking in the door with Tamra. Like, why are you trying so hard? I didn't have to even try. Like, so we got in a fight actually on camera. They didn't show it, but it was funny.
So why this time did you say yes? At this point in your lives?
I think there was a lot that went into the decision. I mean, obviously it was months of negotiations and talking through it. And even when Alex Baskin first called me, I was just like, yeah, I don't know. And he's like, listen, just take the meeting with the execs when they're in town. They're in town a couple weeks from now. Just take the meeting, just hear what they have to say. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. I'll hear them out. So, and it was funny because every time I would say no, Alex would just be like, okay, I respect that. But then like 2 days later, he'd be calling me again. I was like, gosh, and the third time that he called me, I was like, you really want me back on the show? I was like, what is up? And so really when it came down to it, I think I just said to Slade, look, if there's any time to come back to the show, now probably would be the optimal time because I had organic, real relationships with girls in the cast. I had become friendly with Katie. I had been friends with Jen now for a couple of years. He'd known Ryan for 20 years because they both worked back in the real estate business.
Who's the nicest guy, by the way?
The nicest guy
literally
ever.
20 years. He was my rep at Countrywide Mortgage. I've known him forever.
Mm-hmm. Shannon and I reconnected at an event. And so her and I were back, talking and being good. I've known Heather for years. I've known Emily for years. The only one I actually really didn't know was Gina. Mm-hmm. And but we would always comment on each other's Instagram. We're supportive. So I was like, you know what? If there was a time to come back, it probably would be now where I actually have real organic friendships with these girls. And that's really why I came on. Everyone's like, oh, you came on to do this thing with Tamra. I'm like, no, I actually really didn't. As a matter of fact, I had that specific talk with Alex of I don't want to come on and just have this full out thing with Tamra. Yeah. That's not my intent. And he's like, that's not our intent either. We just have to see where it goes. And unfortunately, that's where it goes because, and this is the thing, this is another thing that I really want to address about what's being said in the press. What frustrates me is I didn't come back with a vengeance for Tamra. I didn't any of this. But everybody has to understand when Tamra starts repeating the same patterns as she always does and starts saying the same things and starts playing the feel sorry for me, feel bad for me. Of course it's going to trigger me. Of course it's going to make me bring things up. And she's been doing the same thing for the last 15 years. So it wasn't even just about me anymore. She had done it to Jen. She had done it to Ryan. She had done it to Shannon. She had done it to her friend Heather. She had done it again and again and again and again to everyone. So it was I just was simply stating that. I was like, you don't learn. You don't learn your lesson. You literally make up lies and then you get to a point where you get sued for your lies and you still do it. You still go on and talk shit about people.
She thinks she's so clever, by the way. It shows all her. They're always talking about me. Yes, because you're doing the most stupid, egregious things on the show. Of course we're talking about you. You don't think we see the pattern?
Yeah.
You don't think we see that your first husband called you out for cheating on him. You got caught cheating on Simon. Then you're with Eddie. Then there's articles that come out about you having a fling while you're with Eddie, but you're going to point your finger at Jen and go, oh, you're the cheater. You're the cheater. Oh, you're the deadbeat dad. Well, your kids are the ones that came out and said you were the monster mom.
Not your kid.
Not mine. Yours. So there's this deflection. Every time she points her finger,
it's probably because
she's doing something behind the scenes. Oh, you're the ones leaking stories.
But then she wants to say anytime there's a microphone in front of me, I'm talking about her. Yes, because people ask me about all the stuff that you've done to me over the years. So I'm going to respond to the questions I'm getting asked.
Speaking of which, the Jen fat photo thing, I will say, was kind of funny. Just in that she's just like major shit's going down, and Jen's like, and if we're just being honest, can I ask about the fat photo? Like, it was like, I thought it was pretty
just
funny.
brings it up.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
Her delivery of that was funny.
You know,
I
and
love Jen.
she is very, I think she's really likable.
Oh, she's the best.
She is nice to look at. She is
Yeah,
very
she's
attractive.
beautiful, yeah.
And, you know, it's funny because, you know, it's like, oh my God, she wanted to be me. She started to working out. She got hair extensions. She got lip filler. I'm like, well, that's every woman, not
In
just
Orange
in
County.
Newport, but every woman.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
You get divorced, you have a fucking glow up.
But by the
You-
way,
you know, you
but by
want
the way,
to look
what
better.
it's the most narcissistic thing to say.
Yeah.
And Tamara has said that about everybody, by the way. She said Lizzie wanted to be her. She said I wanted to be her. Now
Oh,
it's
obsessed.
Jen.
You're obsessed with her. Lizzie's obsessed with
We're
her.
all obsessed
We're
with her, and we
obsessed 'cause
all
everyone
want
wants
to be Tamara. Newsflash, nobody wants to be you, Tamara. Like, nobody wants to be you. It's ridiculous that she even makes those claims. And it really is such a narcissistic thing to say.
And, you know, the audience in the comments, at least, doesn't really seem to be very sympathetic to blaming poor, cruel behavior on a friend suffering
Don't
with
even
cancer.
get me started on this.
And people brought up, you know, well, Kyle's been Teddy's friend for many years, to the point that Teddy lived with her after they separated, she and her husband. And Kyle's never, you know, done anything, you know, tried to, we don't know. No, we also don't know because we're there filming now. So we don't know what Kyle's going through. But I'm just saying with that. And, you know, I saw in an interview, this is my recollection, that Tamara even was saying things about her podcast partner, like, you know, it's really sad. She can't remember things. She doesn't remember. She said, when do you start filming? And I'm like, you know, Teddy, we already finished, you know, wrapping up. And I remember watching that and thinking to myself, wow, if I had a podcast with someone in which you have to be sharp and remember things and whatever, even if the story was true, I don't think I would share it. Why would you share about your partner possibly having trouble grasping at words
she
because
planning
she's
a
under
takeover?
cancer
Not
treatment?
being
She's planning a takeover.
Well, who knows?
I don't know, but I just thought
That's
yeah,
interesting.
That could be not bright, or
Yeah.
it could be
Or like just
strategic,
not
or whatever, just
or
not
not kind
cool
to
or
do to your
whatever,
friend, yeah.
because she is still doing the show. And when I see it, it seems like she's, you know, keeping up her work as far as talking about these shows and everything, Teddy, and still doing everything that she's to do. And everybody obviously wants her to recover and succeed as a mom.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody didn't have compassion
Yeah.
for what Tamara was, and I hate to even say what Tamara was going through, because really it's what Teddy's going through. It's not
Yeah.
what Tamara's going through. Tamara happens to be a good friend of Teddy's, and I understand that it could affect her. But I'm sorry, when Jeff was going through cancer, I wasn't an asshole. When his son died, he wasn't an asshole. Like, it doesn't give you free reign to still be an asshole and be a bad person. And that's the point that everyone is angry about online. It's like she always has an excuse for her behavior. It's like, oh, I was horrible to Shannon because I'm on the spectrum. Oh, I was mad to you. I mean, you even see it on one episode with me. Oh, I was treating you that way because I was in a bad marriage with Simon. Oh, I was this because Eddie had a heart thing. Oh, all the stuff. She always has an excuse.
And Simon suffered
Going through cancer
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
And
throat
here's
cancer,
the thing.
yeah.
All those things might be true, that
Right.
those people are going through those things. Nobody's doubting that any of that is true. It's that she uses all of those things as excuses for her behavior. And that's why I went out and made that post. And I just said, look, at the end of the day, like, because she was like, oh, God forbid you ever have to go through what I've gone through and deal with the pain and depression I'm going through. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I know exactly what that feels like. My PS, like, do you remember my fiance died? His son died. Like, how dare you say something like that? You know, like, that is
But don't
so
you see the pattern?
far-fetched.
You see the pattern, right?
Well,
the
I
pattern
mean-
to me is like reputation management. The minute she gets called out again for her behavior, oh, I'm going to go get baptized now. So I don't just go get baptized. I'm going to find an empty swimming pool of my
At a
buddy's
hotel.
listing at a hotel.
No, was it a listing? No, it was at a hotel.
Was it a
Yeah,
hotel?
it was
This is
Balboa
what
Bay
I
Club,
said,
yeah.
why didn't they do it at someone's house?
It was at the
because
Balboa
I
Bay
thought
Club.
it was at where? Is that
Balboa
the
Bay Club.
Is that the
Oh, is that where it
Balboa
was?
Club?
Yeah.
And it's just like
Because the local pastors
no,
also
it's
know.
just like you see like the chair, you know, for handicapped people to get down in, and
right,
then like I
right,
saw like the
right.
5 feet, the 3 feet,
Right.
and it was like kind of a gloomy day, and I was like, I don't know. I think I
know.
would have had it at someone's
Someone
house.
else's
I don't think I would have gone into Vicky's grotto, but whatever.
But we've had people in that circle say, well, she did it because she said that no one would challenge her faith. And that now all of a sudden she's renewed and she's a new person. Because it's about.
I actually was told that she said that she wanted to do that because all of the Christians are sheep and they'll just believe anything. I was like, and it was one of her close friends. But anyways, but the point is that, you know, and like even this season, she's like, oh, you're talking about the past. Tamara, you are literally in therapy talking about your past and about all the things that caused you trauma. So I'm not allowed to talk about the things that caused me trauma. You just happen to be one of the people that caused me a lot of trauma. So why are you allowed to talk about your past, but I'm not? I'm just out of line for talking about it.
That's the connection. You're not the only one she causes trauma to. Causes trauma to everyone. That's part of the problem.
I really wonder, it's, you know, it is very interesting, you know, in the history of the show. When it first started, it was just, you know, following families and really like getting a peek inside of their home, which
it was a lot more fun.
I understand why it has become more than that, because we can look on our phone on lots of different families in their home now. Right. So it's like we do need to see the interaction between the women and even though it's changed, I'm still intrigued. I'm never going to stop watching your show. Like, I'm very intrigued just because I've watched all these years, know all you guys. But, you know, it was the moment, in my opinion, that she chose to throw the drink that changed the trajectory. And I think that, I don't know if that happened before. Give me another, you know, juicy scoop history person. But like, I don't know if that happened before or after the flip of the table.
I think it happened before.
I think it was before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the flip of the table happened. And then it was like, okay, now this is our women's version of like football or whatever. And, you know, and we
have
get
to the ante almost.
Yeah, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you wonder like what is the real motivation, or when you like step out of it and you've done it for so long. When I think, because some of you have been, not you consistently, you've been on a lot of years, but you had this big chunk. But when I think of like a Jax Taylor, a Tamara, when it's like almost coming on a third of your life, you know, that you've been on the like, I do think it gets to a place where you're not thinking about real life anymore. Like, it's almost like, that's why I think it's really that's why I think it's like a fascinating study besides being entertaining. And I'm not making excuses for anyone. I just think it, like, in talking about it, I do think it's kind of fascinating.
What's frustrating to me, as, you know, just as a viewer and also a cast member that was on half a decade, is that, you know, I constantly see people like Tamara out in the press going, oh, I'm just, you know, I what else would you get if I didn't do this? And I'm the villain. And then she's said, even on Watch What Happens Live, she's like, oh, well, I just did that just for TV. And it's like, to me, it's insulting to me when I'm coming on there and really giving like my real life and really just being me. And I'm not trying to like up the ante for something, you know, like even that scene like with Shannon this season. Like, that wasn't me like plotting and planning behind the scenes. It really
came to your head of like, well, honestly, if you're going to say filming someone is illegal, well, so is getting a DUI, and I still chose to be friends with you, which was like, and you did say it in the moment, and you know it wasn't like...
And it wasn't a great thing to say because I love Shannon. She's my friend. But like, at the end of the day, it was a real authentic moment. And so for me, I would like that, you know, these reality shows actually still be that. And so it's hard when you're filming with people that are just like, oh, I just got to give, you know, this whole like thing. And it's like, they're willing to say and do anything for this moment. And it's like, I think we can actually have a lot of moments without trying to like have this moment or like make shit up about people
or wreck someone's life.
Or wreck their life.
That's the problem.
Like, that just sometimes for me, you're taking it too far.
Those people are profiting off the hardship of others.
Right.
Manufacturing things that wreck lives, get them canceled, get them fired, wreck marriages, and they're profiting from it.
And we don't want, as the audience, we don't want that, you know? I love the show. I think it's juicy.
It is juicy. This season keeps getting better.
Pretty juicy.
And by the way,
you know, and every season has a different thing. Sometimes there's a great cast and it's really just funny, silly shit. Sometimes someone breaks up with their husband and the girls gather around. And sometimes it's this too.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really good reality TV. And I'm glad that you guys are back. I'm glad you guys finally came here.
Yeah, right. And you guys got to stay tuned for next week because it's even like, that's a whole thing again. Like, I think that because we go through the lie detector test. So I think it's going to be a whole nother round of like, wait, what? Like, the story just keeps changing every single week. And even us as cast members, we're like trying to follow the story because we're like, wait, what happened? Now this is happening. And I think that's what's fun about this season in particular is I think, a lot of seasons have like a linear story all throughout the season. And I think every single week there's like a new story going on. So I
Because
think
you're really
that makes
like
it interesting.
living it.
Yeah. So
Obviously, it's on Bravo.
yep.
It airs every Thursday night.
At 9 p.m.
Also on Peacock.
Yep.
The greatest invention ever, in my opinion. Peacock, you can watch it the next day, and there's sometimes extended scenes.
Yeah.
There's the after show.
Yeah.
And I think that's on Bravo too, but I like the after shows.
Yep.
And of course, follow Gretchen, Rossi. Now, you probably don't have Instagram, do you?
Not
Slade?
really.
I mean,
No.
he does, but he doesn't really like post
Yeah.
it.
So
I'm
it's
not a-
Gretchen Rossi. You have,
Yeah.
whatever, 2 million
It's at
people
Gretchen
following
Rossi.
you. What?
Yeah, it's just at Gretchen Rossi.
Just Gretchen Rossi.
Yeah.
And and your Instagram is really fun and
Thank
really
you.
fun to watch and great. And you give great
My
tips
wife
and all
is
that.
cute.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and she's
I have
cute.
fun.
Yes.
I love all my
Thank you
fans
so
on
much for coming. I
Thanks
really
for
appreciate
having
it.
us. We
Thank-
appreciate
Thanks for
being here.
having us. We'll see you in another 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you guys, there's so much more juicy stuff coming on. I've got another great interview coming later on this week that you will die over with Real Housewives of Miami, and she reveals stuff that you wouldn't believe. All of this is leading up to the greatest night ever, which will be November 14th, the Friday of BravoCon in Las Vegas. Tickets are getting up there, so there are still some left. Get them for your friends. Come see my show. As you know, I do not hold anything back. I'm saving so much juice. Brandy and Julie will be there along with special guests. So I hope you get that at heathermcdonald.net. And that's also where you can join my Patreon and everything else. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTubes as well. All is there at heathermcdonald.net.